Keto and crime, keto and crime. We uncover the grime on keto and crime. Keto and crime, keto and crime. Now is the time for keto and crime.
Hey everyone, welcome to Keto and Crime with a very special video. Today I'm going to react to some of Tylee's interview with police back from July of 2019, the day that Charles Vallow died. This is something I referred to when I looked over Lori Vallow's, or reacted to Lori Vallow's interview. So some of her reflecting on Tylee's feeling towards Charles, so I'd like to very much see what Tylee has to say. Won't react to all of this because it's like a 2-hour video and we would be here for about 4 hours with me reacting, so I'll react to as much as possible. Zulema's is coming. I want to cover most of hers. Hers is also 2 hours, so it's going to probably be broken into parts. But so that is coming, and with that being said, let's dive in. Thanks to the East Idaho News for the interview footage. Also, Tylee just looks, you can tell that she's a handful. She really is. I think she'd be the type I'd get along really well because she probably does have a very stubborn attitude about things. You can just tell. She's her own woman, and I really, really admire that. I think that's probably why Lori and them started referring to her as dark, because she probably was willful and hard to control, and Lori and Chad didn't strike me as the type to want to do things that require any effort, such as raising a child. So, especially one that's willful, or a child like JJ that has special needs. Just my opinion. Also, when I give you my theories on here, just let everybody know, it's just my opinion. It's an educated guess. I will always say this could or may not be true, but when I put forth my my opinions, that's all it is. It's just like anyone else's. You know, we all have opinions. We all have buttholes. So that's kind of the way I look at it. But with that being said, let's dive in. I imagine that the interviewer is still in with Lori at this time. This is when she left to go speak with Tylee. And there's the teddy bear, so I assume that is for small children when they're interviewing them. I'm going to go ahead and move ahead just a little bit until the interviewer gets there. My goodness. So we had about 35 minutes of wait time. Wow. But here we go.
So I know this is going to kind of sound like kind of a silly question because it's super broad, but can you basically tell me what happened today? And you can start at whatever place makes sense for you to kind of start and explain. I'll probably kind of ask you questions as we go a little bit.
Okay. So I woke up probably around like 7:50, I want to say, because I heard yelling from like right outside my door. And I don't even know what I heard, but I immediately like jumped up, and I have a baseball bat because when I was living at my uncle's by myself, I just wanted something to like feel safer, and I'm not old enough to get like pepper spray or anything, so I was like, okay, I'll get a baseball bat. So I have that.
I really like Tylee. She would have been a force of nature had what happened to her not happened. I really like Tylee. So what uncle was she referring to? Was she referring to Alex or Adam, I believe? Does anyone know? And give me a kind of a point to start investigating that if I need to. Anyway, let's continue.
So your bedroom, you said right outside your bedroom door, and I didn't go in the house, so I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage. So what is your bedroom door open to?
My bedroom door open, so the room that my uncle was staying in, the room that's kind of like the guest room, if my room's right here, that's right there.
Okay.
And then my little brother's room, and then kitchen's kind of back here, so it's like a little hallway, and then right here is kind of where everything happened.
Okay.
Like the big, you walk in and...
Like big great room, kind of living room?
Yeah, right now it just has mirrors up because my mom wanted a dance room, so yeah.
Okay.
Kind of...
A dance room. I guess Lori was doing the jiggy jiggy boo boo with Chad, or wanted to. Wow.
Conventional, but
Hey, whatever makes you happy. It's your guys' house, so.
right. So yeah, I immediately just jumped up and I grabbed my baseball bat and I opened the door and it was my stepdad, you know, outside the doorway, and then my uncle kind of in the doorway, and then I could hear my mom behind him, and he was just screaming at both of them. Like, I don't even know what he was saying because honestly I was just too like wired, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I told him to take a few steps back. I was like, you're too close, you need to step back. And he was like, don't tell me what to do. And I just kind of just stood there. And then my uncle kind of moved out of the way. And then my mom kind of went past him and into like the big room.
Okay.
Where everything happened. And so I walked with them. And then I
So they were more in the hallway.
Yeah, they were at like the end of the hallway, okay, basically. And so my mom walked all the way around. And he kind of followed them, and I just kind of stood. My uncle was, like, right here, and then my stepdad right here, and then me and my mom were kind of right here. And I didn't do anything with the baseball bat. I kind of just held it there, and he was getting really close to my mom, so I kind of stuck it out, like, between them. And they were both just yelling, and he was like, if you hit me with that baseball bat, you're going to go to jail. And I just kind of stood there with the baseball bat, and I didn't really say anything.
When you said they were yelling, who was yelling?
It was mostly my stepdad.
Okay.
Well, he was really the only one, like, yelling.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was kind of, like, responding, mm-hmm, but I honestly couldn't tell you what they were saying. It was kind of just, like, all jumbled up in my head. And so I just kind of stuck the baseball bat out there, and then he just grabbed it and tried to take it, so I held on to the end, and then eventually I fell, and he kind of took it into his hands like he was going to do something with it, and that's when...
So when you fell, he ended up with the bat?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I fell to the ground, and then my uncle kind of, like, I saw him take a step back, so my uncle, I think, grabbed him and kind of took him back so he couldn't, like, do anything.
You saw your stepdad, like, take a step back?
Take a step back, because he was really close to begin with, and then I kind of...
So it sounds like there was an argument going on, of course we know this, between the three adults, except for Charles, adults. And she came out with her baseball bat, was just trying to maybe protect her family, diffuse the situation a little bit, protect herself. And then Charles grabbed the bat, which caused her to fall, is kind of the page that I'm on right now. And then Alex may have pulled Charles back as he was close to her.
Said to go with JJ, and so I ran out the door, and then I kind of just stood there with my little brother. He was in the front seat of the car, and so I just kind of opened the door and just stood there, and like he was trying to get out, and I was like, no, we have to stay in. And I was like, oh, like, I told him, like, do you want to go in the Jeep? And then he was like, no. And then I realized that my car was blocked in, so I couldn't anyways. I was like, okay, like, just stay here. And then eventually my mom came out, mm-hmm, and then we left from there.
Okay.
I just kind of asked her, like, because I heard a noise, mm-hmm, which I know what it was now, but it sounded like, because I knew that the baseball bat was in there, it sounded like someone, like, took it and hit it really hard against the floor.
Okay.
And so I was kind of I was like...
So she's describing the gunshot, which no one saw but Alex and Charles, and unfortunately Charles can't give his side of the story. We know there's an altercation, but what we don't know is whether Charles actually attacked Alex in a way that would make him fear for his life and allow him to use deadly force. That's what we don't know.
Okay, right, because that's my uncle. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to make sure that, like, my stepdad didn't do anything to my uncle and stuff. And so she was like, no, like, I was fine. Like, we're just going to take JJ to school. And I was like, okay. So I just got in the car, and then we went to Burger King because my little brother wanted breakfast, mm-hmm, which was chicken fries, mm-hmm, for some reason.
Okay. I do dinner for breakfast all the time.
Breakfast for dinner and dinner for breakfast.
Mm-hmm. So
most of the account between her and Lori kind of line up. I think it really does. Now, what we don't know is that few minutes between of the gunshot. That's what we don't know. But being what we know about Lori now, I'm willing to bet that I don't think Charles was going to survive that no matter what. I think they had deemed it was time for him to go, and Alex, as the enforcer, as Gabriel, as the guardian angel, as Michael, took him out. Just my theory.
To kind of back up a little bit, so you had talked about your stepdad, when you put the bat out, your stepdad was coming towards your mom. Can you describe to me a little bit better kind of what was going on there? Like, is there a reason you put the bat up?
Yeah, he was walking towards my mom, and I just didn't want him to do anything, so I kind of just stuck out the bat. Like, my mom was right beside me, and he was right there, so it wasn't, like, between them.
Okay.
It was kind of just, like, I just stuck it out to be, like, keep your distance, kind of.
When you say you didn't want him to do anything, what did you think he was going to do?
Hit her.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, for the most part, been pretty, like, mundane, but there have been a few, like, violent times with him when I was really scared that he was going to hit me or hit my mom, like, just because everything was kind of crazy. Me and him have always kind of not gotten along, like, just since I was little. And so there have been a few times that we've gotten in fights and stuff like that, and so, so I'm just kind of...
I think that's typical blended family. Not saying it's all right, but I think that's typical. I don't think their animosity toward each other was any different than any animosity that most stepchildren have towards stepparents. And when you put what Lori was doing to Charles, the money, the affair, the general cuckoo craziness with the cult she was in, and I think Charles was probably pretty upset about Ian and not Ian, but Brandon and Melanie's split as a result of what Lori was saying. So I think, and then just everything with typical tension combined with that kind of tension. I think that's why Charles is probably having outbursts. I'm not okaying domestic outbursts. If he was a jerk, then he shouldn't have been. And if he really did attack Alex, maybe he deserved what he got. But I don't think that in this case. I don't think other people that have talked with George, I talked about Charles, I think probably Lori brought out the worst in him, as she would just about anybody. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so that happened, and he grabbed the bat from you. So kind of tell me that again real quick.
So I kind of stuck it out, and this is when he was like, if you hit me with that baseball bat, you're going to jail, and I didn't say anything, because I'm like, okay. And so I'm holding it by, like, the end of the bat, like, the place where you hold it, and so he kind of took it, and I kind of, like, lunged forward and kind of lost, like, my footing. And so my mom was like, just let go, and so, I kind of, like, slipped and I fell, kind of on, like, my side.
Okay.
Yeah, and then from that, my mom said to go to the car, so I just got up and ran out the door.
Okay, did you see, when you fell towards your side, did you see what he did with the bat?
No, I wasn't really looking in that direction, because from where I fell, the door was kind of more in my line of vision, because I fell looking this way and the door was like right there, so I didn't look back.
So he was he was at a different line of sight than what you were looking at?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at some point you saw him kind of take a step back, and from what you're saying, and tell me if I'm wrong or not, you didn't necessarily see your uncle pulling back, but it seems like that maybe...
It seems like he wouldn't have taken a step back on his own, so it's more of an assumption than anything. I didn't see him physically take him back.
Tylee's very bright. She's very methodical. She knows what she means, and she'll correct herself if she thinks she's made a mistake. I really like Tylee, and I think she's the type that didn't take BS, and that's probably, unfortunately, why she's gone today, because she just didn't fall in line with what her mom and Chad wanted, and they saw her and JJ as an obstacle. Sadly enough, she was old enough to have been on her, not Yeah, she was old enough to have been on her own would have been preferable to what they did to her. So I wish they had just kicked her out and not did what they did. That would have been preferential. You know, it's just so frustrating.
Makes sense based on where your uncle was at that time.
Yeah, he was behind him, because he wasn't on this side with me and my mom, so he was behind him.
Okay.
Because that's kind of just the order where everyone walked out.
And when that happened and then your mom told you to go, did you see what happened with your stepdad and uncle?
No.
Okay. And then once you went outside with your brother, you never came back inside?
Oh, I went to go get my mom's purse from inside so that we could have, like, her wallet and everything, but this was all happening, like I said, like, in the bigger room right here, and so I went through the garage door, and so the garage door is right here, and then there's, like, a little hallway, and then this is kind of where everything is, and then this is my mom's room. Okay. So when I went in, I kind of, like, just tuned everything out, ran to my mom's closet, ran back, so I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything.
When did you go back in and get her purse?
After my mom came out.
Okay. So after you heard that loud noise?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you heard the loud noise, was your mom outside or inside?
I'm trying to think. I think she was inside when it happened and the door opened, like, immediately after.
Okay. So very quickly after the door opened?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't...
Interesting. I don't recall Lori saying that. Lori acted as if she was outside when it happened. So it either happened when she was going towards the door or it happened with her in full view and she got the heck out of Dodge. So very interesting. And then the fact Tylee went back into the house. Wow.
And if my mom hadn't come out immediately, I would have, been thinking about it for a lot longer than I had.
So, obviously I don't know, like, your mom and stepdad and uncle, like you do, I don't. So, can you tell me kind of where the three of them were at, kind of emotionally, and how they were behaving when all this was happening?
When all this was happening, or like before?
When all this was happening. So like when you came out of your room and he took the bat from you and...
Yeah, so my stepdad was like, he was like, I don't even know how to explain it. He honestly just looked like kind of a crazy person.
Okay.
Like screaming and like his face was beet red. He just looked like really mad. I remember when he took the bat from me, I saw his face for like a split second, and I honestly, like, it didn't even look like him. He just looked like pure, like, rage. Like, he was just seeing red. So, I haven't really seen him, like, all the way like that before. That's, like, the craziest I've ever seen him. And then my uncle was kind of calm. Like, not super calm, obviously. It was, like, a stressful situation, but he's, like... I don't know, he was kind of just standing there in the doorway, kind of just being protective of my mom, but not...
Of course, because he was her protector, and he saw Charles, the demon, coming at her. And I imagine Charles was probably on his... Like I said, she brought out the worst in people, and I think he had finally reached his breaking point.
He was yelling, and my mom was kind of just, like, talking.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But you don't remember, if you do, like, what your mom was saying at all, or what he was mad about?
No, not really. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Honestly, like,
We're talking about something that probably happened over 2 seconds of time. So.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like 2 seconds and 40 minutes at the same time,
yeah.
So yeah, I don't remember what they were really saying. I just kind of heard yelling over everything. Mm-hmm. I don't know, I kind of just do that whenever things are, like, really loud. I kind of just, like, tune what people are saying out, because, I don't know, just yelling isn't fun, obviously, for a kid to hear, and with my biological dad, I always heard him, like, screaming and stuff, so I kind of just learned how to, like, tune it out.
So when you woke up to yelling, and you had said you weren't sure what they were actually saying, did you know who was yelling when you heard the yelling?
Yeah, I knew it was my stepdad, oriented, and then I remembered that my stepdad was, like, coming in to take my little brother to school today, so I immediately, like, knew it was him. Mm-hmm. And then my uncle I knew was staying, so I knew that was him, and then my mom, obviously, I knew that was her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, so you stepped out of your room and you took the bat with you. Is there a reason why you took the bat with you?
Honestly, I think that was kind of just, like, first instinct. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, I didn't ever hit him with the bat or anything like.
Well, she had already admitted that she liked to have the bat for protection when staying at an uncle's house. So, you hear her screaming, you grab a weapon. I mean, you think that may not be the right way to go about it, but I think that's what she did.
Security, I guess, to know that I had it. I didn't do anything with it. In hindsight, I probably just shouldn't have brought it out at all because it caused more trouble. But it was kind of just first instinct, and it was right by my bed. Uh-huh. So I kind of just, like, jumped up and grabbed it.
So I'm trying not to put, like, words in your mouth and stuff.
You're good.
So was there something in particular that you were concerned about that you would have taken the bat with you?
Only if he had been violent towards, like, me or my mom.
I'm assuming you're talking about your stepdad?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think what the officer's fishing for is, have you ever had reason to fear your stepdad? In a very roundabout way.
Yeah. But it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to take the bat and, like, do something with it. It was kind of just like, I need something in my hands to, like, feel safer.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I think she took the bat purely because of the yelling, not necessarily because she feared her stepfather.
So my kind of second dumb question is, and I don't know that there necessarily is, but I always kind of want to make sure, is there anything that, you know, we didn't talk about or I didn't ask you about or anything that you think is important or anything that I should know? Because it's harder for you because you were there, and so I'm asking questions about something I didn't even see. So I just want to make sure, like, I didn't miss something or anything that you think I should know about.
That was pretty much it.
Okay. And if you think of something, you know, in 5 minutes and tomorrow or whatever else, we can always talk again. It's totally fine. So, I talked to your mom about, we have some victim services people that work here. They're not cops. They're really good at what they do. So I really want your mom to talk to them, because I think it would be good that your mom has, and you guys have some, maybe kind of some extra support if you need anything kind of go moving on. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to check in with your mom real quick, and if she's good to go, then I'm going to introduce one of them to you guys. That way you guys...
Alright, so that's pretty much the end of the actual interview. The rest would be with victim services. So that's Tylee's story. It does match up with Lori for the most part, except for the part where Lori said she was outside when the gunshot happened, and Tylee seems to think she'd just walked out, or was walking out. So again, I don't think Tylee had a fear of her stepfather other than, you know, seen him lose his temper a few times. That's what I gather. Could be wrong. Let me know what you think down below. So that's the interview. Very interesting. So I'm going to do a search for Alex's interview, and if I can find it, I will also react to that. I will also be reacting to Zalima's. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed it, and coming to the close of 31 Days of Halloween. Hope you've enjoyed it. And with that being said, until next time, Keto Krime.